And that's why in our today's discussion, we are asking the big question, are we still under the colonization system, or are we free from the colonization patterns?
Yeah. And you see, this actually, viewers, if you really think that this discussion is worth it and you might have any questions or inputs, please feel free to comment and let us know what you think about the discussion. But as a continent, I strongly feel that the ways of colonization have just evolved, and it's not like we are out of the colonization period as a continent, because we might not be carrying chains around, but to some extent, I feel like, I don't know, Judy, I feel like every day we are carrying these chains around our necks.
The colonization is in our mindset. The way we were programmed to think, that is what we call colonization. We don't term the thing of chains and stuff. It's our mindset. That's what colonization at the moment.
Yeah. And you see, farmers actually, I don't know, but farmers really need to change the way that they think about themselves.
Exactly.
When you meet most small farmers, you meet a farmer and then they are like, we just want to get this tea, get it harvested, get it to the factory, whereby it will be weighed, exported and then exported and stuff. And rarely do you find farmers who are really zealous about processing the tea and doing it. And it's not even only in tea, but even in other products. Not only in Kenya, but even in other countries. You realize if there are people who have stuff, the food stuff, it's a really small percentage. That is my thinking, because I've interacted with a number of farmers, and then when you interact with these people, they really don't have that thinking. And I think it's not a colonization problem, it's an exposure problem. Because have you ever been into a place, you're in a place and you're feeling like this is actually the best, right? And then one day you visit somewhere, and then you're like, man, this is totally different. And there is more to life than what I was thinking. I remember the first time I went to what do we call Arboretum?
In Nairobi, yes.
So this time I visited Arboretum, and then when we were coming back, we decided we are not going to take an Uber to town. So we decided to walk. We actually walked from Arboretum, then through Westland, and then came to town. So I remember as we were walking, and I'm seeing these great houses. I'm seeing these beautiful sceneries, and I'm like, man, there is more to life than what I've been thinking. You see, now I'm coming from Thika. It's not really that it's not a town, it's a town, but the kind of architectural design, the slickness
is different from the one in the city.
Yeah, totally different. So I think that the farmers, the biggest problem, the biggest question should be, are our farmers getting enough exposure, and is the farmer also willing to get the exposure? Because as a farmer, if you're not going to get the exposure, then you're not going to understand what is in there for you and what is going around. Because this colonization mindset, there are powers beyond us that we cannot control when it comes to global markets for tea, global markets for agricultural products, the way that we purchase them or we export them. But I feel like there is a way that we can control that. If our farmers, they can change their mind.
Also, I feel in terms of the mindset, we are afraid to take the risks. As farmers, we feel like it's too much. We can't do this. Let's say I produce my own thing. Who's going to buy? You are afraid like you won't have the market, the people to convert to with in this form of activities.
Sure. Farmers really need to expose themselves to opportunities out there.
That's why we have these agricultural, they refer to agricultural events where they are being taught on how to maneuver in this field.
True.
Yeah.
And we highly encourage, if you're a farmer and you've been doing maybe any crop from horticulture to the staple foods that we eat, any kind of crop that you're farming, maybe you should expose yourself and then get to understand what are the opportunities available for you, not only in Kenya, not only in Africa, but actually globally. Because it all starts from how do we perceive the whole thing when it comes to markets, globalization as farmers. And then you see this thing about colonization that you've just asked about. I feel like it's an evolving kind of a system, getting updated each and every time. And then we get to do every other work that we need to do, right? There's this discussion I remember we were having a while ago about us being the people who are putting in all the work, and
Yes.
then other people have to decide what is, as African countries who we have gone to the farm, we've dug,
We have planted,
Exactly.
we have done the hard work.
Yes, and then someone comes from nowhere and now decides this is the global prize for what you're producing.
Imagine.
Not what we are producing, what you are producing. And you see, you should be the number one who is deciding how much do I charge for this, because you're the one who knows you know the pain, you know the struggle, you know what we are going through. And also the government, I really love what has been happening to some extent. The government is opening opportunities for farmers to get to export their products.
Yes.
And it's a good thing that African products are starting to get visibility and some space in the global markets. But at the same time, I feel like we need to do more.
Yeah, and in this discussion, we looked at it earlier, and we saw that it's not all about farmers, the government, and whatever.
Sure.
In such practices, the currencies, the markets, the trends have to be included. The dollar is included in the exporting, importing activities.
Sure.
This are telling the money, the rates, everything included. You know.
True. Actually, the dollar is a very important thing to a farmer, because whether a farmer understands it or does not understand it, they still fall victims of the same thing. So if the dollar, let's say for example, fluctuates and maybe becomes stronger than the shilling, then immediately the farmer will consequently pay for that.
Exactly. Like we said earlier, the dollar keeps on shifting. The rate keeps on shifting, but the money, the cost is constant.
Yeah, the cost is constant. Actually, you see, let's say for example, there's this example that I was giving you. Let's even look into the things that we need to farm, the inputs. So you get like a fertilizer, if we need to get in fertilizers that are imported, things that are using maybe a higher technology than the one that we have, or maybe we are trying to get seeds that are resistant to drought, resistant to pests. So you realize by the time we are getting them, we pay in dollars.
Exactly.
And the farmers have to buy them at the global market price, right? And then when they come in here, we do every other work that the farmer needs to do. And then from there, the farmer now produces the crops, yeah?
Yes.
At that same cost, and then now has to export this crop, but now at a lower rate, because they have spent a lot of money getting to produce, to grow the whole entire process of farming. But when it comes, the point that we were discussing, when it comes now to selling, there is someone who is like telling us, hey, yo, the farmer, this is how much you can export it for. And these people do not put in mind that by the time the farmer was getting this product,
there were expenses in between.
Exactly, there were expenses in between. And then bad thing might happen. Actually, sometimes some of the bad things could be, let's say as a farmer, you bought fertilizer maybe when the dollar rate was around, let's say 160.
Yes.
Remember, like somewhere around last year there, when the Kenyan shilling was starting to gain stability and some strength in the markets, right? So you find that maybe you bought it when the dollar against the Kenyan shilling was at 160 Kenyan shillings, and then now when you're about to export, now the dollar value have like reduced when it comes to Kenya,
yes,
to Kenyan shillings. So when it's put against the Kenyan shillings, you're at 130. So for every dollar spent, for every profit calculated, now you're 30 shillings less.
Imagine.
So as a farmer, I feel like as a farmer, you're losing a lot because of us having this kind of dependency on the currency and how these people are pricing what we already have. I don't know, I've been thinking about this thing about the free trade zones within Africa, because I feel if we can trade between ourselves, it would be even easier.
Cheaper,
yeah,
to
sure,
be specific, especially for the farmer who is using all this effort to reach at a certain level. Yes.
And then if the markets can also get opened up globally, but at the price, you see, the one who can really control what you're having will definitely control what you can do with what you're having.
And do you feel like it would be better if we had a fixed price for all commodities exported and imported?
Like a fixed price?
Yep.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's actually possible.
But you see, the more we use the dollar as a conjunction in this story, importing, exporting, and everything else, the value doesn't support the farmer.
True.
Exactly.
Actually, the currency is not friendly to the farmer.
To the farmer, yes.
Because
They need something constant to keep on moving.
Sure.
But the more it goes down, it affects everyone else. But those people that are trading, they just earn more. Let's say.
I think also the problem could be about the middlemen. I don't know what you think about middlemen. Because
middlemen, I feel like they're beneficiaries.
Yes, they benefit from everything because sometimes I'm forced to believe that if I bought something at a certain cost and then it has lost or gained value in a certain way, I should be able to price it subconsciously in my mind to know that it's going to cost me this much. But I feel like the middleman, these people who are the intermediaries in here, they're the people who are benefiting a lot from
Let's start from home. Is it? Let's say you are a farmer, mboga farmer, cabbage, mkulima wa mboga, sindo? You sell one cabbage at 10 bob because you have everything else, sindo? You have given it to the broker who sells this product to a school. Anunue tuseme na 10 bob, sindo?
Yes.
Aende shule auze at 50 bob. So you see?
Yeah, this guy is the one mwenye anakula. At any given time, actually brokers are the people who are eating most of the money when it comes to agriculture.
Sometimes tunekelea the dollar, whereas it's the people in between.
Yes, these people are renting a lot because I don't know how true this could be, and I don't want to give out opinions. But there is this thing that I heard. I don't know whether you have heard it, that we also have people who are our people, maybe Kenyans or Africans to be specific, who are outside there, and they like. They're the people who are bargaining the prices. They find the market for us. And I'm forced to believe this person, to some extent, they could also be getting in somewhere and getting paid for the same. So
Exactly.
you see the costs involved. You know, it's not like when it comes from a certain country to Africa direct. Okay, because when it's coming from there, mostly you realize that the people who are operating these products are multinationals or governments themselves or organizations that are way bigger. They don't really need a lot of people to get the market for them. You see, it's different. When it comes from Africa, we need to go through a lot. Even the cost increases because of the people that needs to be paid in between.
Yeah.
It's like if I have to send you some money so that you can send to some people who will also send to some
The
people.
transaction cost in between.
Yes, now that cost of doing business. I feel like that is among the things that are also hurting the farmers. Yes, the dollar going up and down because of fertilizers, GMOs and stuff, it could also be a problem. But at the same time, I feel like these people, the cost involved between the farmer getting the crop ready to when it gets to the world market, that could also be a bigger problem.
That's why you see majority of the people, especially Africans, we think farming is boring or is for the poor, because ukiangalia there's no money. Like the farmer is left with no money. All the money has been used in all these expenses.
Sure.
So mkulima akibaki, inabaki yeye ndiye maskini. Cause umetumia hii pesa yote kwa kutransport, kwa kupeleka sijui wapi, kununua nini, everything. Umebaki with nothing. Inakaa like umeenda losses instead of making any profit in between.
Yeah, true. And then Pia, what you said earlier, that farmers should gain some courage to take the risk, because most farmers are not taking the risk. I don't know what are your thoughts and your views, our viewers. But if you have any question, if you have anything to contribute to this discussion, why is it that the African kind of agriculture future is way forward and it looks like we are not headed anywhere, yet we are the one who are producing? So back to you, send your comments. We'll come in back after the commercial break.
County, moja ya maeneo yanayojulikana kwa mashamba yao ya chai yenye rutuba. Leo tunapata mkulima wetu wa kwanza ambaye atatuelezea jinsi wanavyopanda majani kutoka wakati inapokuwa ni mbegu peke yake hadi wakati inakuwa majani chai.
Ndio inakujaga ama kusikuizi ili uone mahali ya kupitia. Na line ukipitia ni lazima uende na mpango, kwa sababu hii line hasiwendi straight.
Tumeuza rani ya kwanza asubuhi. Hii gari imekuja kitu kama saa 4 hivi.
Welcome back. This is Global Tea Market and Trends, and we have been having a discussion for some time now.
Yeah, sure. And we're thinking about, you see, Judy, I've been thinking about the rich continents that really flood Africa with the so-called aid. You see, they call it aid. That is from GMO seeds, the climate smart agriculture kind of talks, and the stuff about funding. We are going to give you money so that you can do this. We're going to subsidize you to do that. All right, and these programs, I strongly believe sometimes they don't serve the farmer. I feel like mostly they're not serving the farmer, but serving the world market, and not the local farmer who is going to go through all the work. And it appears like an agricultural kind of a capture instead of an agricultural kind of an aid. I don't know what are your thoughts around
and
that?
That's why anonymous African proverb says, "He who feeds you controls you."
True.
How true is this, considering our topic of discussion today? How do you perceive that from that angle of our discussion today?
You see, let's start even with the first thing. That is so true. You see, the other day I was having a discussion with one of my closest friends, and it wasn't really making sense that as Africa, we are, as Africans, you get to realize that we are hungry. We are always complaining of food shortages. We are always complaining of things not going the way that they are supposed to go. Yet, we are the people who produce the very food that is feeding people globally, right? And it starts from this thing that I'm telling you about the aid. That these people act as if they are giving us the aid, but in real sense, who controls this aid? When when the food is ready, who are the people who are controlling where this food is going?
Them.
Yeah, definitely. So Africa makes it, and then it goes to Europe, and Europe prizes it.
It's so, how should I put it? Yani inakaa vibaya for Africans. Like, you have your own thing. I have my pen. Then I give you my pen for you to give it back in a defined way.
Sure. So the agricultural kind of aid that we've been receiving for the longest time, the agricultural aid that we are getting each and every time from these people, it's kind of like we are giving them the land. It's not like aid. It's like unemployment kind of sort, right? So we are on unemployment with our own land. It's like we are leasing our land, giving our labor to them, the sweat, the inventions, the creativity, the strength of our very own seed. Because Africa is a continent, we are well endorsed. We are well endorsed when it comes to the quality of food that we can produce, well endorsed when it comes to the arable and fertility of the land, right? So it's like we are giving them on a lending basis. We are telling them, hey, this is it. This is what you gave us the money to do. We have done it. Take it. Go and benefit yourself. Because you realize we even don't have a lot of agricultural giants in Africa. Yet we are the people who are producing this thing. And then you realize that most of the people who are the agricultural giants, the companies that are even getting listed on stocks and stuff, they're not really based on Africa. Recently, I usually love what happens when it comes to the tea department here in Kenya. People like KTDA, they are really doing well. And we've seen this kind of evolution among farmers recently in the country, where they are forming circles, forming unions, forming communities, and then now they are at a position whereby they can determine now what do we do with what we have. But in real sense, it's like the Western people, the Northern people have been like coming to us being like, hey, I have this so and so, take it, go and do what I need you to do, and then bring it to me. Let me decide what to do with it.
Yeah.
That is what I feel.
Yeah, I feel the same. And by the way, before we continue with this discussion, do you feel the things that we give them and then they give it back to us, are they like in the standard that we deserve as the producers?
Not at all, not at all. Check even when it comes to us exporting fruits. What is the class, the grade of the fruit that we export compared to the grade of the fruit that we are left with? Okay, check the grades of even products out there against the grades of the products that come back to us as Africans. Usually, it's either they are way substandard. That is number one. So they are like doing a dumping. They are dumping them to the African market. That is number one. Or number two, when we get the quality, it comes at a very high kind of a price, high cost, and then it becomes unaffordable for most people. Yet these people, you see, in real sense, how it's supposed to be that if you can produce something, you should be able to afford it comfortably.
Yes, exactly.
But now the very people who produce this thing, you go to a house of a tea farmer and then you realize they're using substandard tea. Yet they're the people who are farming that tea. Checking after it, ensuring that it doesn't have any pest, ensuring that it grows the right way, harvests it, takes it to the factory, and then these people takes it out there. And the tea that is coming back to this farmer, usually even an average farmer cannot afford a standard kind of a tea grade package. They cannot afford that.
But it's the mentality, not a mentality, but it's the aspect of our developing countries. We have not yet reached that level to afford those commodities. If it's tea, if it's coffee, hatujafika hapo kupata like the best of the best grades. And as a continent, we should manage on how to produce better and consume better.
Yep. I was listening to a certain discussion on globalization, and within the discussion that I was listening to, there is this thing that came up, and it's the thing about whereby the people who are doing this whole idea, it's like Africa is trying to catch up. Okay, we are like trying to catch up, literally trying to catch up with the Western world, and so we are like jumping this level that we need to cross through. So in this manner, the Western kind of side right now is not usually focusing on the manufacturing sector. These people are very focused on AI stuff. They're more focused on tech.
But do you feel as a continent we will ever evolve if we are not ready to do all this, or to do these processes that we are skipping?
I feel like it's not possible for you to. I feel like growth should be step by step. That is my thinking. And so when we are trying to get, you know what that looks like. What it looks like, it's like getting a 1-month child to compete with a 10 years child.
Thank you.
So it doesn't make sense at all. So I feel like what we should do, first of all, go to the very primary thing, the foundational thing, and that is us as Africans start to embrace manufacturing and processing at the same time.
But looking at the things, do you feel we have like the capacity to level up to these countries?
Yes, we have every capacity. You know, surprisingly, I don't know. I've been following some documentaries, and I got to realize everyone else thinks Africa is the future. Everyone else is thinking.
But we do
Africa.
not believe in ourselves.
Yes,
that's the thing.
Except the Africans.
Yes.
That is the point. Everyone else is thinking. So we have all it takes. Actually, we are the future. We have everything it takes to disrupt the markets that are already there.
But
and
according
also
to
be
the
different.
systems, here's the thing. The Western realized this aspect. and
sure.
took advantage of it. But we as Africans, we feel like they have to come to us to make us see how the future looks for us.
Yeah, sure. And is the problem, the first thing starts with what you mentioned when we were starting the show. The fact that most African farmers, most Africans wants to be safe. And the more you want to be safe, the more you're not taking risks. The more you're not taking risks, the more you're ready to submit to someone who assures you that I can give you, even if it's a small amount of money, even if it's the coins that you're getting, the more we are ready to accept them at the expense of the bigger opportunity, the bigger possibility that we have as a continent. So most farmers, the reason actually most of them do this is because they are like, as far as someone assures me that I can get 20 shillings for my kilogram of tea leaves, okay? As far as someone assures me, you will get 100 shillings for I don't know, your bag of what. That is what they want. Most people, I feel like
They want the quickest means. They don't want the process. They don't want the struggle. They just want everything chop chop.
So we are being sold the lie. At the same time, as Africans, we are being sold the lie.
We are so gullible to start with.
Yeah, definitely. By a bigger percentage, actually.
We are so gullible. Until we realize this aspect, we are not developing. The growth will be so slow.
Sure. And then we get people who are quite intentional, and then we be able to escape this idea of globalization that has been sold to us as a lie. Because to me, if you talk to me and you want to involve me to something, let's even take an example of a contract. If you want to involve me into a contract, it must serve your needs and serve my needs.
Yeah.
Right? But this one looks like more of what I told you. The rules are being written by someone else. The benefits are dictated by someone else. And the extent of what you can achieve as a farmer also described by someone else, including even the seed that you're trying to plant, you yourself, is also being dictated by someone else. Then once you have been dictated all through this primary level and the foundational level of producing these agricultural products, they then take them, go there with them, and then decide who processes them, how they are processed, and why they should be processed that way. And then they decide how should we package them. And then they also get to another point, and then they start deciding how do we now price them.
Exactly.
So as Africans, we are like falling into the victim kind of a basket. So every other time, we are the people who are falling down, even if we are the one who are producing.
And now, who is there to tell the people, the farmer, like, you have to take this risk, you have to do this for this to happen? Who? Is it the government? Is it the brokers? Is it the Western people? Or is it we as the individuals?
I don't believe it's I'm a strong believer of responsibility. And so,
but you know, as a farmer, wewe ndio uko chini.
Yes.
Before the rest, you know, the hierarchy is so high until you don't know where we all stand. And the value also is as low as everything else.
we should have more people talking about the possibilities and opportunities out there. Not only the government, not only the church, not only the circles, not only the communities, but more people. As far as you've seen the light, go back home and go tell people, this is the light. This is where the opportunities are. Because if we can get more people talking to our own people about what is there and what can be available for them, then the Western people won't have a chance to take advantage of us.
I feel it should be the other way around. Instead of we giving them to do things that we can do ourselves, they should come for us. The Western, they come for us Africans. You want this? Come in Africa, come to this country, come to this person, and you'll find whatever you're looking for, instead of taking our product and taking it to your country and doing everything else.
Yes, because we're actually missing on a lot of benefits of what we produce. Leave alone even when it comes to monetary gains, even health gains, that feeling of luxury, affordability, class, comfort is no longer there, because we are getting the bare minimum, even when it comes to the quality.
And you remember our discussion earlier when we were saying, like, hatutaiacha kuomba because of things like this.
True.
The cycle just continues and the taxes keep on piling up, na inaumiza like the common mwananchi, and you see there is no development in between.
Yes, and then we'll still keep on borrowing.
We keep on borrowing.
Because the pricing index is still the dollar.
You see,
at the end of the day.
Ukiangalia in our country today, for example, skuma zina shoot, sindio? The common mwananchi anauza na value ya chini. At the same time, taxes bado zinapanda. So you see, everything that you are doing inaenda na losses instead of us profiting.
Yeah, definitely. And then maybe in a conclusive way, as we conclude, I feel like Africa is still being used by a higher level.
We are still colonized.
Yes, I feel like we're still being used.
Yeah.
We are giving these people the stuff, and then the people who are there, who should be shedding light to us, some of them are also the people who are helping their people keep the chains around us. So our mindset is still shrinked. So I feel like schools, churches, organizations, people who have seen the light should be the people who are putting themselves on the forefront to discuss these pains for the farmers, say that these are the opportunities available for the farmers, and this is what the farmers should do. And then if a farmer would want to develop or grow in any way, then this is what they should do, and this is where they should be standing at.
Yeah, and as I walled up myself, my take is the bodies involved should teach each other. Tujifunze, farmer teach this, innovators, researchers, the government, let us teach others to grow, and for everyone else involved, take the risk.
Yeah, sure.
Take the risk.
And let's all create a sustainable hub. Maybe you're at home and you're listening to this discussion. What is it that comes into your mind? Africa is, where Africa is headed to when it comes to agriculture, and what should be done? Because we strongly feel as Africa, there is so much we can do. There is so much as Africans we can put our minds to that can make a whole lot of difference. If you and I could take the responsibility, number one. Number two, if you and I could be ready to pay the price and take the risk, as Judy has been saying, that let's be ready and let's always be pushing for what we need to do. Until next time, it was nice.
See you.
DJ Kicks.
Marema one and only, the giver of life, iko tunanapa. Mesimama cause uko na mimi, never let me go. Mipaka yangu umeitanulia mbali, even sky see your limit kwa ikibali. Hata haters wanashangilia kwa ndani, umewawinga oh. Sina kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. Watapataje mwamba umenifunika, ure watataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never
DJ Kicks.
Hey Baba, Olodu Marema one and only, the giver of life, iko tunanapa. Mesimama cause uko na mimi, you never let me go. Mipaka yangu umeitanulia mbali, even sky see your limit kwa ikibali. Hata haters wanashangilia kwa ndani, umewawinga oh. Sina kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. Watapataje mwamba umenifunika, ure watataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never.
Today we know what go, but nobody can stop the reggae. Kalenda ya Mungu sio kama ya mwanadamu. If it's today, unaamka kopa geko, nobody can stop the reggae. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande. Sikufi moyo ijapokuwa saa zingine ni ngumu, sikati tamaa bado, naweka imani bado nitafika. Kalenda ya Mungu sio kama ya mwanadamu. If it's today, unaamka kopa geko, nobody can stop the reggae. Kalenda ya Mungu sio kama ya mwanadamu. If it's today, unaamka kopa geko, nobody can stop the reggae. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande. Sikufi moyo ijapokuwa saa zingine ni ngumu, sikati tamaa bado, naweka imani bado nitafika. Mtetezi wangu Yesu anaishi, hata uniseme mangapi, bado nasonga, sisikii kama meja mimi sikii. Kalenda ya Mungu sio kama ya mwanadamu. If it's today, unaamka kopa geko, nobody can stop the reggae. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande. Walionidharau watanisalimia kwa heshima, saluti afande.
Hatuwezi, asante Baba kwa mkate na kikombe, kilichobaki acha mimi nikuone. Wabinadamu umetuma na unyonge, nikikosea naomba Mungu unione tena. Nasiogopi mtu, namuogopa Mungu tu, na sijali lolote, namuogopa Mungu tu, na siogopi kitu, namuogopa Mungu tu, na sijali lolote, namuogopa Mungu tu. Hizi shida zangu zinanitosha, sitaki matatizo, sitaki matatizo. Hizi shida zangu zinanitosha, sitaki matatizo, sitaki matatizo.
Alimwambia Simoni, tweka mpaka kilindini, kashushe nyavu zenu. Yesu alipokwisha kunena, alimwambia Simoni, tweka mpaka kilindini, kashushe nyavu zenu. Bwana mkubwa, tumefanya kazi ya kuchosha usiku kucha. Bwana mkubwa, tumefanya kazi hata tusipate kitu. Bwana mkubwa, tumefanya kazi ya kuchosha usiku kucha. Bwana mkubwa, tumefanya kazi hata tusipate kitu. Lakini kwa neno lako nashusha nyavu, nashusha nyavu, nashusha nyavu, nashusha nyavu. Bwana kwa neno lako nashusha nyavu, neno lako nashusha nyavu, kwa neno lako nashusha nyavu, nashusha nyavu.
Everything you put your hand go walk. Your name go open doors. You self go be a boss. Amen, amen. Everything you put your hand go walk. Your name go open doors. You self go be a boss. Amen, amen. Every hustler getting paid. Where the hustle go come to pay. Your own in no go take. Amen. If you don't find work, do your own. God self go do his own, and flesh go cover bone. Amen, amen. If you believe it, say amen. If you believe it, say amen. If you believe it, say amen, amen, amen. Everything you put your hand go on. Your name go open doors. You self go be a boss. Amen, amen. Everything you put your hand go on. Your name go open doors. You self go be a boss. Amen, amen. Sister, where one man sees until where they find begin. One day you go born twins. Amen, amen. Then that way don't losing job. Landlord come they do like God. One day you go be landlord.
Give them go open doors. You self go be a boss. Amen. Amen.
Siwezi pigana na wewe, nanyosha mikono juu, basi pigana na Mungu. Siwezi shindana na wewe, nanyosha mikono juu, basi shindana na Mungu. Oh, shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Basi pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Oh, shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Basi pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Siwezi pigana na we, nanyosha mikono juu, basi pigana na Mungu. Siwezi shindana na we, nanyosha mikono juu, basi shindana na Mungu. Oh, shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Basi pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Oh, shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Basi pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Hata kama vita tapigana, ila ushindi atanishindia. Yote si mapenzi yangu, bali ni mapenzi yake Mungu. Ukitamka laana, ila baraka kanitamkia. Yote si mapenzi yangu, bali kwa mapenzi yake Mungu. Ana uhai wangu mie, nimemkabidhi yeye. Ukitaka kunigusa mie, unataka kunigusa yeye. Ukinigusa kwa mema, atakubariki, atakubariki. Ila ukitaka kwa mabaya, usishiriki, maana sio rahisi. Maana vita yangu si ya mwili bali ni ya roho. Tena sipigani mimi, anayenipigania Mwokozi.
DJ K-Close.
Siwezi pigana na we, nanyosha mikono juu, basi pigana na Mungu. Siwezi shindana na we, nanyosha mikono juu, basi shindana na Mungu. Oh, shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Shindana na Mungu. Hata ni basi pigana na Mungu. Pigana na Mungu. Hata kuna wengine hawajafika nilipo. Hata nimshukuru Mungu kwa hiki nilichopata. Hata kuna wengine wamekosa kabisa. Tabasamu njoo, nataka nibadili wangu mtazamo, niwaze kitajiri. Na wewe maumivu njoo, nataka nibadili wangu msimamo, niishi kijasiri. Ile habari ya kulialia kila siku nakata, na kama nilisainiwa mkataba nafuta. Ndugu tuliowasaidia wakaficha makucha. Oh, walipofanikiwa wakataka kutushusha. Lelele, nafuta zile waibi, sitapata kwa nini? Najama ujasiri, nitapata na mimi. Nafuta zile waibi, sitapata kwa nini? Najama ujasiri, nitapata na mimi.